We're going to talk about masculinity now, okay? We're going to talk about masculinity and Lauren Chen's take on masculinity. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking right now, okay? You're thinking, Papa Jake, you're the most masculine man I can even fathom, all right? Dwayne The Rock Johnson? More like Dwayne the... What's the opposite of a rock? Jellyfish? Texturally, I think it's the opposite of a rock. I don't know if, like, maybe philosophically it is, but definitely texturally, okay? It's the opposite of a rock. You heard it here first. Dwayne the Jellyfish Johnson. Got him! Because of my masculinity. Anyway, so this is just like my brutal attack on new rapper, by the way. Have you heard his new song? My attack on rapper Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Just like I brutalized him, so is Benedict Cumberbatch, who, sounds like... Benedict Cumberbatch's name sounds like a Victorian porn star, right? Like Benedict Cumberbatch in Gaping... Wait. Gaping Lily Flowers 3. I don't know. Attack on masculinity. So she's mad about that. And by the way, I'm such a jock. Many of you won't know this. Oh, well, you can't really see it. It says right here, Benedict Cumberbatch slams men's behavior. I can't look at this without seeing this. Just because I just want to... I can't describe to you how much my brain is just fucking just taken up with this kind of shit in my head. Just Slam magazine, basketball. I'm such a fucking himbo, dude. I'm incapable of just being a person with a normal brain. I'm basically a weeb, right? I shouldn't be able to make fun of weebs, right? Your brain works in a way where you do cringe shit, and so do I. Well, cool shit, but, same thing. Anyway, here's her doing cringe shit.
Hey, Lauren here. We've spoken quite a bit about femininity on this channel, so today I thought we would mix things up and talk about masculinity, or more specifically, the attack on masculinity, because if you're actually looking for advice on how to become masculine, I'll
give it to you.
I'm probably not the best person for that.
I am, though, Lauren. So, Lauren, if you would like to... is he deepening his voice? No, I always sound like this, okay? You're just now noticing it, all right? I'm not making an affectation, okay? I just speak from the lowest depths of my diaphragm at all times on purpose, okay? Lauren, if you need any help, on how to, be masculine, just come on by the old corn stream over here at twitch.tv/actualjake, all right? And I'll tell you all there is that you need to know about masculinity. Ask me anything. Go ahead, chat. Ask me a masculinity question. And I'll answer it right now, off the cuff. What's a bimbo? Bimbo is the opposite of a himbo. And a himbo is a man that wears basketball shorts and hoodies no matter the temperature. And yes, that describes me.
And I do just want to preface everything I'm about to say with the lamentation that in this day and age...
Lamentations of the women. I can't. The Bible study that we did ruined my brain.
It's pretty much impossible to compliment or praise something without people out there taking it as a criticism of something else. For example, any video that I do that speaks positively about marriage and families, there are all these people upset in the comments about how I supposedly hate single people or people who don't have children. No, me saying marriage is good, families are good is not the same as me saying I hate single people, die you childless scum.
But you also do kind of say that shit. What temperature should I start plugging my block heater in at? I'm just too manly to even really entertain that. I can't believe you don't know that just off the top of your own head. Honestly, I won't even, I'm way too masculine to answer your question about your block heater, which I know what that is. So
Those are two separate thoughts.
325 degrees for 45 minutes.
Articulated one of them. And the
Per
reason why I
pound.
mentioned that is because I find
That's just how you cook a chicken, actually.
this
Man question, are trans masks valid? Of course. The most manly thing that you can possibly do is accept the validity of everyone around you.
lack of comprehension is especially apparent anytime I say positive things about men or masculinity. There are people out there who take it as a slight against women and against femininity, and it's no, I have so many different videos out there praising femininity, asking for more femininity in
Thanks, bussy thief. That means a lot coming from you.
society. If you want to check those out, be my guest. But for now, guess what? We are talking about masculinity and why it is a good thing. And if that offends you, well then, I've done my part at this point to try to placate you. It's just too bad if you're still upset at this point. But anyway, Benedict Cumberbatch is a very popular actor who you've probably heard of.
Benedict
he
Cumberbatch.
is very talented, if you ask me, but he is one of those actors who, it's strange. He's almost seen as like a sex symbol, even though he kind of looks like a frog, in my opinion. But
hey, look. All right? Any of my kings out there looking like a motherfucking toad, all right? Someone out there wants to smooch you. I don't care if your eyes are far apart like Benedict Cumberbatch. All right? That just means he has more perception of predators and threats. Okay? Like Mac from Always Sunny. That's all that means, all right? I'm fine. You look the way you want to look, king. All right? You know what let's really class the joint up. Okay? We're talking to the chuds now. I'm going to use some chud language. You know what bitches like, chuds? Dudes with faces. So if you got one, you're valid and good enough. All right, we didn't really class the joint up, but we did teach them something. We had to talk to them on their level. But we got through to them, and now they're good people. That's all it took.
Anyway, he has been in the headlines recently because he had these comments about men and masculinity.
You get this sort of...
But that movie, by the way, watch that movie. The one that they're talking about, very good movie. It's like The Year of the Dog or something like that. I can't remember what it is. It's on Netflix. It's on your recommended shit right now. It's really good.
Rebellion aspect, or this sort of denial, this sort of childish defensive position of not all men are bad and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, we just have to shut up and listen. We need to fix the behavior of men.
Yes.
And to understand that, you have to kind of lift the lid of the engine a little bit.
You heard it from Sherlock Holmes and the voice of Smaug himself. We just need to fix the behavior of men.
Is she using the examples of him and his acting jobs as reasons to not listen to him on that? Because he did do both those roles. That's true. That's a good IMDb lookup. Also Doctor Strange. His greatest possible acting performance is him desperately trying to do an American accent in the Marvel movies. You're doing okay, Benedict. It's fine. It's a fun movie though. We give you a pass. You're doing fine. The Hobbit sucked. Okay? There's things to like about The Hobbit, but it's not a good movie. Like I like the singing and some of the shit. I like Smaug, and I like obviously Martin does a great job, but it's some bad part. Legolas? What the fuck is going? What happened to him? He looked like he got his makeup got done by a mortician. Anyway, this is not about the Hobbit trilogy that should have been a single movie, and with practical effects and forced perspective instead of CG. Don't make Ian McKellen cry, okay? I know way too much about those movies. Anyway, The Imitation Game was so what Benedict Cumberbatch is saying is totally fine. Not only because he's a man and gets to speak before women, Lauren. I was trying to do that straight, it didn't work. But men have problems like inherently, just like anything else, right? I don't know why you would disagree with that. Men have problems. That's fine. You don't have them because they're not your problems. They're man problems. You're not one. You know what I mean? But you can probably see that men have problems. You might disagree what those problems are, but you know that they do. He's not even identifying which behaviors they have to change. He might, but like right now, at the beginning of the video, you just think men are perfect in every way? Appreciate that. Appreciate the validation, but it's not true. And it's not true about anybody. We are all flawed beings. And yeah, it helps to have some introspection. I don't see anything wrong with that. This isn't even like a fucking like political take. Just every single person should be able to benefit from self-reflection, Lauren, irrespective of who you voted for.
And it's really interesting because something I've noticed is that when we talk about societal problems,
like
there
what?
are only certain groups that you're allowed to blame for those problems.
That's not true. What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Is she going to give an example of a group that I can't name? Because I could probably think of something that they should fucking fix.
Those groups being straight people.
Straight people. Wait. Straight people. Hold on. Did I mistake what she's saying?
Of men. And it's really interesting because something I've noticed is that when we talk about societal problems, there are only certain groups that you're allowed to blame for those problems.
Oh. She just went the other way with it. No. The Corn Father is perfect. He is not perfect. Okay? But you know, we try to be good, and that's what we can do. But so straight people.
Those groups being straight people.
So straight people are the only people we can blame for stuff. How about this? Gay community. Let's call you out. Gay community. Are you ready? Sometimes you invalidate the sexuality of straight people. You have a problem with that? You got your societal acceptance, then you went a little too far and you overcorrected. Sometimes you invalidate the sexualities of straight people. There, we did it. That's okay. Does it mean that anything is taken away from... No, of course not. Black people. Let's do it. Black people. She thinks I probably can't talk about black people. Black people. Your community has a big problem with homophobia and its concept of masculinity and how those two intertwine. Huge problem. I hear a lot of people in the black community, from people within the black community, say some pretty weird shit insofar as that's gay. Blank is gay. Big problem in that community. And that's not a secret. So there you go. Everybody knows this. This isn't a hot take. Black people aren't perfect. Surprise. You know, any groups of people, that's the point. That is the point. Like, good God. And then there's some obviously truly based people in all of these groups, including fucking women and men and straight people. There's some based ass straight people. I may be one of them. Maybe. That's for you guys to decide. I'm gonna put myself on the ballot though. I'll nominate myself. I can't vote. I can only vote for me once. So, you know what I mean? You're floored, right? Exactly. It's like really weird that she thinks that we can't. Like, Lauren, talk to me for 2 seconds. I will destroy your concepts of what you think leftists are.
Men, white people, and Christians.
And men, white people, and Christians. So we can't talk about any other. So I talked about black people. And the opposite of a Christian is a Muslim. There we go. Boy, where do I start with Muslims' problems? Muslims? The problems that the Muslim community has. Yeah, wow, you guys are fucking conservative nightmare shithole people sometimes. Like really bad. You're like the Baptists of the non-Christian world. Like seriously, it's really fucking bad. Like wow, straight up, get over yourselves. Holy shit. Wow, it's not even really hard. Atheists? Okay, yeah, maybe we'll say atheists too. I am an atheist. Atheists. You're not smart because you were right about one thing, dummy. You're not smart because you were right about one thing. Right about one thing. And sometimes you're not even right about one thing for good reasons. Sometimes you're right about one thing, there is no God, because one thing, the Bible, seems not true. No. I'm against all of the other ones too. You stopped at the Bible and you were right about that on accident. You don't know how to show your work. Okay? You're not smart. Okay? Please extrapolate your own, like you say you're a humanist, prove it. Become a leftist. You know what I mean? Like, woo! Atheist activism is mad cringe. Lots of it. True. I mean, who else can I talk about? Is there anybody else I'm not supposed to talk about? Trans people? What did trans people do wrong? I don't know. Lots of stuff. Just like anybody else. That's why it's really hard to like start picking like this. The more you get down You know what trans people, trans women specifically, you know what your problem is? What's with the fucking astrology? It's not real. What the fuck is your problem? What's going on there? Moons and stars are vaguely feminine or something? Like what? Trans people can be kind of gatekeepy? I guess, yeah. Trans people, not everyone is an egg. True. Yeah. Let them have fun. Hey, you can have your fun, but what the fuck? What is going on? I saw a really good tweet the other day, and it was like, hey, trans women, it's really important to make sure you write down the exact date and time of your very first HRT pill, because it's going to be really important to you whether you're into astrology or not, because eventually you will be. You know. Why are you all named Emma? Non-binary people, you're all named like Finn or something very close to that. Yeah. Yep. It happens. Hey now. Jake is roasting chat now. You're goddamn right. We all get roasted. We all have stupid things. Look, and the things she said, straight people, white people, and Christians, you just have a lot more silly shit to make fun of. That's all. That's all that is. Look, I'm two of those things. I can admit it. Look, I'm coming out of the closet. I'm white and straight, chat. Fuck. I'm also cis. I am an atheist though, but I'm 2 of 3. That's 66.6%. It's Hall of Fame numbers in every sport. So stunning and brave. Thank you. In my time of, yeah, we'll have. I gotta put my super straight flag up, chat. But, dude, white people and straight people do some wacky ass shit, dude. We just do. I don't have any vanity for you know. I have no vanity, which is a bad thing. I need to have some vanity. I just don't give a shit. I can't think about it. I can't look at myself and go, I'm going to dress up and that'll look good. Excuse me. Hiccuped. You know what I mean? Fellow trans mass transition does give you a pass to be sexist. True. There you go. White, straight, wakey shit activated. Yeah. Gender reveal parties? Oh, yeah. Wow.
For example, take the pay gap. That's supposedly a problem that affects women, and it's not actually a real thing, as most of us know by now. But
the adjusted wage gap is actually a thing.
Whatever. Let's just say,
it is actually
for argument's sake, that it's real. Because
the adjusted wage gap is a thing.
Women are the victims in that situation. It's men's fault. But then Benedict Cumberbatch also brings up the issue of mental health. And when it comes to things like self-medicating via addiction or suicide, then men disproportionately are the victims that suffer from poor mental health.
Yes.
But here, even though the victims are men, guess what? The problem is also men. So essentially, according to people like Benedict Cumberbatch, women attacked men at fault, men attacked men still at fault.
Oof. Well, okay, so as a man, we have a lot of cultural things that happen growing up as a man. Like if any of you were in, I like to call this incognito for a while, like that period of time where you identified as a man, but you weren't one. For anyone that's cis and is a man, anyone who experienced, I guess, any developmental masculinity, to any extent, whether you're still there or you're not, you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's sort of like you probably have a more hyper awareness of it if you, in fact, have discovered that your gender wasn't correctly assigned, because it's almost like a club that other guys think you're in. It's really weird. Like when it's just guys, it changes if you're in those groups. Now, I as an adult, I don't really have those groups, but growing up, it's like that. I don't know how to even describe it. The Donald Trump locker room talk thing is kind of what I'm talking about. Where, yeah, that kind of shit happens. Like, sometimes there'll be dudes that just, like, say gross shit. Part of the boys. I guess the boys is a little bit different for me and how I've constructed my life. Like, they're not gross like that. But, like older generation, like my parents' age, that kind of group, it really does change. Like, we do have problems. And as far as, like, the depression and the suicide stuff, we won't get too much deep into that just for content. But as far as, like, the mental health problems that men have, well, number one, it's not caused by, but exacerbated greatly by capitalism, obviously. Like, the pressures of men specifically to be the breadwinners is a huge problem for men. So if you say you are a men's advocate, I really don't know how you can be, the type of person that Lauren is, where you would, be against, like, the way that the household, I guess, is organized. But is what I was trying to get to. But there's other problems with mental health for men, and it's we exacerbate it. Like, capitalism has its own stresses on it, but we to each other are like, wow, bro, you got to make more money. I'm making this money and I'm doing this. And, like, society kind of feeds itself in. Like, the idea of capitalism is always there, sort of like keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing. But, it's not even just monetary accomplishments. It's like, sex is a thing for guys who don't have sex, obviously. Like, these people are like they're banging their high school girlfriend at the park poorly. And they're like, yeah, bro, I'm fucking. Son, you haven't even started fucking yet. Wait until you're an adult. You'll still be having bad sex because of your mentality. But I'll be having good sex. And, obviously there's the other forms of masculinity, like the physical stuff, like growing a beard or, just presenting yourself masculinely, how you dress, just other aspects you're presenting, like just how you talk. Like, if you listen to dudes, I do this on accident sometimes, depending on who I'm around. But one of my friends, Dave, growing up, really did this. I noticed it a lot. Hannah noticed that she did it around me as well because I exude masculinity at all times. But I'm one of her most masculine friends, right? And so she caught herself lowering her voice when around me. And, like, I think Baha brought it up. I was like, hey, did you know that you do this? I think she's talked about it before in her stream. Like, just that sort of like, we'll get down here, sort of like a goddamn gorilla beating his chest. Like, I'm deep voice, and like people with deep voices do a little bit more play. I mean, there's so much that goes into being like a guy. Man, it's just so weird. I don't know how to describe stuff. It'd have to be like, you ask me questions about, like, hey, why do you do this? And I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, and I explain it. But, like, dudes are weird. We have strange social rituals that no one talks about. Like, and obviously, like, I'm aware of it and I'm slowly not doing these things. But, like, nonetheless, they come up. Bro hugs. I hug regular, but yeah. The bro hug with the pat. You kind of do. You know why sometimes we do that, though? I'm going to low-key say this, okay? Maybe the other people that have experienced this bro culture will agree with me. I feel like sometimes the bro hug, not to peers usually, but to older people, like your uncle or something, the bro hug is because, straight up, we don't feel comfortable touching them. And I don't mean because we're like big burly men that like, ooh, that's gay. I mean, like, some old dudes in our communities are creepy. The pat does feel good. Like, you could feel a good pat. Like, there's those pats where it's like a coach or something, or you're like, yeah, man, or I love you, man. That shit. But, like, the family bro, like the family back pat hugs are sometimes because I'm really not into touching you. You know what I mean? And, like, ugh, it's like giving me the heebies right now just thinking about some of my relatives. Like, I just get a bad vibe from you, bro. I don't want to hug you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think it's like a sexual predator thing necessarily. I mean, it could be, but it's not that all the time. Sometimes people give me bad vibes. Straight up, didn't like hugging my dad for that reason. He wasn't a warm dude. He's certainly not warm now because he's a corpse. But you know why I ham that up every time? Because the guy on Twitter that gets really mad about this, I kind of secretly hope he sees it. You know what I mean? I forget his name, but you know the guy. If you follow me on Twitter, you know the guy. You should follow me on Twitter, @actualcorn. What a wacky dude. But yeah. Anyway, let's get back into this.
And this is very different than the type of rhetoric you would see surrounding, for example, inner city crime. In those cases,
What?
it's not actually the fault of the person who's committing the crime, it's the fault of everyone else.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it isn't. When someone commits a crime, right, you have to ask why they commit the crime. That's the only thing that happens on the left, really. I don't think people that shoot people in drive-bys and, like, a kid catches a stray in the neck and dies. Like, I really don't think there's a lot of leftist support for that person that committed the crime. There is just an understanding that there is something systemically wrong in those areas that have, like, the gangs that make this. And it's almost 100% on the, like, the burden is on the shoulders of capitalism. Because without capitalism and the necessity, well, I don't know why I enunciated that so hard. The necessity, I'm trying to sound smart, I guess. The necessity of, like, the commodified survival, like, to have survival needs unmet and require money to even meet those needs is the reason that these things occur. Like, nobody is doing crime the way that crime is done mostly, which is, like, theft and stuff like that, and trying to make money on black markets, like selling weed and shit. Like, nobody's doing that if their needs are met. So simply, as a societal prescription, meet the needs of the people doing those crimes, and then what you'll see is crime in general will go down, and the only crimes left will be the ones that we probably want to prosecute, and most people would just not, there wouldn't be, like, debate about many of them. You know what I mean? Because it'd be like, oh, that person's needs were why did they kill their wife? And it's like, oh, they're just a fucking piece of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love being around the type of guys who used to tease me in high school. Dude bros validate me so much as a trans woman. Is that weird? No, I'm a dude bro. I say dude and bro literally all the time. I think the chummy nature of dude bros is what is attractive to them as far as, like, people you'd like to be around. Like, I can really tell when people, specifically dudes, haven't been in a lot of the social situations that I have insofar as, like, locker rooms and sports teams and enjoying athletics and competition together. And I can tell, like, the band nerds. Like, you guys stand out to me. And not in a bad way. You just, like, you're different people than I am. And that's fine. Like, there is a clear, like, anxiety. Like, I definitely browbeat people on accident just because I'm so comfortable around everybody. I definitely command a room on accident. And not in, like, a necessarily good way. I don't mean, like, I'm, like, just some, like, leader of men. I mean, like, straight up, I'm just loud. Anyone who's met me knows that. I mean, you fucking know that. You haven't even met me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not loud like I'm trying to be an asshole. I just, like, you know, like to talk to people. And I'm boisterous. And I have sort of a voice that carries. What instrument did you all play? I was alto sax. I played a basketball. Nerds. And do not have the discipline to learn an instrument. It's a skill I do not have. I really wish I would have done band, to be honest. I actually wish I would have done drama as well. I really should have done drama. I'm really stupid for not doing that. I didn't know at the time that it would fulfill me in any way. Like, I didn't realize that I liked entertaining people. But that said, they did tell me that I would grow up to be a comedian someday. And this is similar. It's not the same. But I could do a tight 10. I could do a real tight 10-minute set on the first time I jacked off. I know I could do that. I could kill that. Okay? 100%. Do it? Hell no. I'm not giving up that information. I'm not doing that bit. We're not in a stand-up situation. I kind of want to make myself do stand-up. By the way, I did get paid to be a comedian one time. I was literally billed as a comedian, and I got paid to be there. Technically, that's true. Technically, I'm a comedian. You should do a community. No, I don't want to do a community theater play. I don't want to be with them people. Hell no. I wanted to be part of drama, like, growing up. Used to do improv as a kid. I won improv comedy night at my high school. And I don't even think it was that funny. I just think everybody else is stupid. Like, and just not funny. Stand-up would be sit down. Oh, that's okay, Jalen. I believe they let you. It'd be really funny if it was in the bylaws. They're like, now it's stand-up. Although it would be cool to open that. You know, okay, here's one thing. Disabled, well, is that even the right word for that? Because it's not really disabled. How about comic with some sort of like affliction that makes them stand out? I don't even know what it would be. Or some sort of like, you know, because there's some people, there's one guy with like Erb's palsy, I think, and his arm's like up here and it doesn't really work. And so he'll make jokes about his arm. And then there's the other guy who there's the one guy who had cerebral palsy and his like whole body was like, he could stand, but he was like obviously kind of like weak about it. But like, or Gabriel Iglesias, wait, is that his name? The big chubby guy who just made fat jokes about himself for 4 years. Wild stuff. Which isn't a disability or anything. I mean, I'm a chubby, but like, you know what I mean? Like something that makes them stand out in some way that like they try to cut people off at the pass for making jokes about themselves. Some of them only do that, and that always bothers me. Like, come on. Don't. Not only please don't reduce yourself to this one thing, but also like, I don't know. I don't like it. Gabriel Iglesias, is that his name? Fluffy, yeah, whatever. But some of them are really good. And I think Gabriel Iglesias stopped doing that, and at least to some extent. But Lady Necro, thanks for the 11 months. Almost a year, hell yeah. But I do think that starting your set there with like, thank you for coming to my stand-up. I've already blown it. And then just sort of like, you know what I mean? I think that'd be funny. And then that's the only joke, though. Like, and then you just don't bring it up again because it's like, you know, unless you have jokes about it, but like, you know what I'm saying? I think that'd be a good way to address it without making it the central tenet of your thing. Because, I don't know. Ralphie May, R.I.P. No, Ralphie May did the same thing, but it was different. He didn't say, I'm fluffy, which just is the dumbest fucking thing ever. Please don't have a catchphrase if you do stand-up. I won't watch it. I won't support you. No catchphrases. I really wish my friend Maelstrom would do more stand-up. Anyway, get her done. All right, we were doing Lauren Chen.
Kind of like a look what you made me do.
We're rambling all over the place. It's no problem.
Very hypocritical.
This is a broader conversation about masculinity is what this was, okay? This wasn't a stun lock. Technically, we were staying on course.
When and where our society decides to actually accept the idea of responsibility.
Oh, I have ADHD, Demi-Surge. That's why I'm not doing stand-up. I can't remember that shit. Except for the I'd have to have a notebook or something. I had to have some way to like organize myself.
Versus pass that off to someone else. And although many of you, like myself, might find Benedict Cumberbatch's words.
Okay, hot take. Rodney Dangerfield, not funny. Not funny. It's basically just like puns. Like maybe for the time, I just have never laughed at Rodney Dangerfield. In fact, the only thing I've ever thought about Rodney Dangerfield that was good was when he was just having conversations with people. That's when he was witty and funny. Similar with that, what was that guy? Alan something? He was like sort of a short, chubby, like, I think he was like a Jewish guy that lived out west. I forget his name. Not very funny. Gets no respect. Who fucking cares? No, not Sam Kinison. He used to do just shock humor. I don't know. The other guy's not very funny either. How dare you? I mean, hey, if you like Rodney Dangerfield, go for it. But George Carlin at least had something to say, you know what I mean? George Carlin was saying stuff. And to call George Carlin a stand-up comic is so strong. Can we agree that George Carlin was just really, really good at ranting. Really good at ranting. Because that's what those are. He's just ranting. Organized ranting. He's never, like, made me go, like gasp for air like John Mulaney has. You know what I mean? But he's definitely always been like, damn, that was a funny way to say that really good point, George. That's George Carlin. Stand-up comic, very strong words to use. Yes, he was better than you. Oh, he was way better. He was way better than everybody. Lewis Black? Sort of. Yeah. Lewis Black is fine. No, not Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah, that's stand-up, though? Yeah, it is. It is. But it's more of a rant.
Concerning and frankly kind of sexist. The truth is his thoughts are frankly very commonplace in today's society, and I would say they're actually the dominant attitude toward men and masculinity that exists among the left. And we have more to talk about, but first I do want to say
you're gonna run a fucking ad? Come on, dude. We're gonna talk about masculinity, but first buy my, I don't know, diet pills.
Off your order. When you're listening to leftist activists, specifically progressives, talk, you'll notice that it's very rare that they actually associate masculinity with anything positive. There is a reason.
What are you talking about? Masculinity has many positive things that can happen. Like we've already talked about positive masculinity. Totally full of positive stuff. Masculinity has lots of good things. Dude, bro, I mean, just bro culture in general, like the warmth of a dude who is a bro. You know what I mean? The warmth of a dude. May I present Dad Bod? There you go. Hassan, Jake, and Carlos. I'd like to hang out with those two. That'd be fun. I mean, there's just so much good. Like I like a dude you know that guy that like fixes your car and he never asks for money, and when you try to give him whatever you got, he's like, no, that's okay. And then he just expects like a beer sometimes when he comes over. That's positive masculinity, okay? Lots of positive stuff. The dude that goes and teaches Little League for the love of the game, all right? The dad willing to dress up in a dress in spite of his obvious raw masculinity, still full beard, muscles rippling out, to make his little girl happy. Or a little boy, fuck it. You know, it's kind of a trope for a little girl thing, though. Positive masculinity, bro. A dad who fucking, like, gets really, really, like, you know, their kid maybe got beat up at school a little bit, and they're, like, 5 years old, and they're like protecting their kid and teaching them, like, how to deal with that kind of violence and shit. Positive masculinity. Hopefully you're not saying, please haul off and punch people. But, you know, if they do it a good way, good job, you know. Teaching you how to, like, fucking, you know, do dad stuff. That's good shit. And we're going raw masculinity here, too. Teaching you how to grill, how to cook over open fire. My dad didn't teach me that. He wasn't very good at these things. He did make pretty good beer butt chicken. That's the only thing I can remember that he did a decent job at, and I make it better. Don't ruin it, ADHD guy. Don't ruin it. Your father-in-law digs trenches for oil pipes. He's the manliest man I've ever met. He does all the normal man stuff and is the sweetest man ever. Exactly. The only thing, like you can do manly stuff and be real cool. The only thing you got to do is not be a dick about it. That's pretty much it. Just don't be a dick.
Reason why toxic masculinity specifically has become such a buzzword in those circles. For example, recently The Atlantic published an article titled "Welcome to the Age of Lawless Masculinity." This article was written in response to Representative Paul Gosar, who I have interviewed before. If you haven't seen that interview, I recommend you check it out. Paul Gosar is one of the few genuine conservatives actually serving in Congress right now who sticks to his principles. But anyway, on his social media, Gosar put out this little meme video of like his face and different Republicans' faces plastered on like this anime battle, and like AOC and leftists were like the bad guys they were fighting. It was like, it was a little stupid troll thing, but
bro, you set the precedent with this when people made fun of Trump during his presidency, and like if there's ever any even like an inkling of violence, you guys lost your fucking minds. Like, y'all were free speech warriors and like, oh yeah, Do whatever you want. Show Muhammad getting fucking raped by a donkey and send it to Muslims and be shocked when they bomb you. But if you show Kathy Griffin holding a clear dummy head of Donald Trump, holy shit, there is hell to pay. How do you have those two same thoughts in your fucking head? How? Because Muhammad not real or something? Is that it? Muhammad was real. He's not alive? No, he wasn't holy or anything. Pretty sure Muhammad was a real guy. Like, what? Do you think that was a genuine threat on his life? If you think that's a genuine threat on his life, you got problems, bro. You got issues.
Anyway, the left chose to take this as an act of aggression because, of course, they did. And so about that whole saga...
But it wasn't that. It was just aggressive. It was that the precedent for what you get upset about had been set. And then he showed Attack on Titan. And the sword's like spraying blood everywhere. And it was AOC's face on there. And you guys fucking hate her. And have committed political violence in the recent past. Like, literally January 6th happened. In reality. And Paul Gosar was part of that. That's the context. And people go, hey, you're doing the fucking thing again. Right-wingers are dumb enough to get after that. Kathy Griffin doing that wasn't going to incite a liberal millionaire to cut Donald Trump's head off. But do I think right-wingers that take guns and zip ties to Congress and storm the Capitol, do I think that they're maybe capable of a little political violence? These are the same people that think JFK Jr. is going to come back and be vice president to Donald Trump, and they went to the grassy knoll and hid there for his like spirit to rise or some shit. QAnon, Flat Earth, Alex Jones. Yeah, I think maybe the unhinged demographic of the people that Paul Gosar is reaching out to, maybe, just maybe, there's a different fucking context. My dude. There you go. Now you have the full context of what a leftist thinks when Paul Gosar tweets that kind of shit. Weird, dude.
The Atlantic wrote, Representative Paul Gosar's murderous and misogynistic video takes a page, albeit an extreme one, straight out of the authoritarian playbook. So the first thing I want to say there is that to equate anime with masculinity in any way, shape, or form, that's a new one. And
wow. I'm pretty sure, you know, I know somebody that might disagree with that. I'm just tossing that out there. And I think maybe you have to do a little thing. Here. How about this? A little bit of that, huh? How about you get hit with a little bit of this? Huh? Is that masculine enough for you? Huh? You ever thought of that? Huh? Look at these rippling. Look at this. Just rippling out of that upside down crop top. What isn't masculine about any of this? Where's the problem? Look at his action figure. That's He-Man shit, dude. Like, genuinely don't know where you're getting these ideas. Lauren.
I know anime fans are gonna get mad at me for saying that, but look, I just call him like I see him, okay? But yeah, here we have an example of the left trying to call Gosar, undeservedly, but whatever, misogynistic and murderous and authoritarian, and for some reason, the word that they associate with all of those things is masculinity. They're essentially trying to morph masculinity into this negative trait, which is very strange because, I mean, when we think back historically to what masculinity means, it's usually used to describe good things, bravery, courage, leadership.
That's right. If you have a pussy, you can't be brave. I said it. Okay? That's right, Lauren. Masculinity is stored in my biological balls. Right next to my bravery tubes. Okay? That's where they're at. But Jake, how do you have room for all that masculinity when the pee is taking up so much space in your balls?
It's really only in this modern context that masculinity is being used to describe all of these negative things. And it's funny because even though to anyone paying attention, it's pretty obvious that yes, the left is trying to do this. It's trying to undermine the concept of masculinity. Not only do they try to associate masculinity with negative traits, but they also simultaneously try to uplift men who don't display any masculinity. I mean, just...
Wait, what's wrong with that? Why can't we uplift men that you don't find masculine? What's wrong with that? Am I missing something? Did you also... You know what's wild? Check this out. I don't think you can define masculinity. Not in a way that doesn't throw women under the bus. You know? Or feminine people, I guess. But, you know, that's a little high concept for Lauren. Masculinity is different for every dude, man. Exactly. However your masculinity manifests, that is the correct form. As long as you're being however you are, truly. There you go.
Think of the stereotypical male feminist archetype that publications like Salon and Jezebel wish all men would be. They're docile, they're physically weak, they're submissive to women. It seems like the...
Sorry, Toots. Ain't nothing submissive about this cob.
only time that leftists do compliment men, it's when there is nothing actually masculine about them.
What are you talking about? Dude, she needs to just talk to one of us. Like, at this point, like, Lauren, just talk to me. Or anyone. I mean, preferably I'd like you to talk to me because, you know, I think I'm the best representative for this. But, talk to any actual leftist, dude. I really don't think you're going to get any of the takes that you're trying to get from them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you've actually talked to any leftist men. Literally anytime, Lauren. Come on and show up.
And it's funny because as obvious as that is to literally anyone who's paying attention, anytime a conservative does call out the left's attack on masculinity, they like to gaslight and act all offended and as if, what are you talking about? We're not anti-male. Recently, for Men's Mental Health Month, Senator Josh Hawley, who I am a fan of, made several different comments about the left's attack on men and masculinity. And here's one example of Senator Hawley saying things that I think are like objectively true.
All right, let's hear it. Objective
but that's
truth.
Still very much angered the left because they don't like to be called out on their attempts to subvert things. They would rather do it sneakily.
Well, a man is a father, a man
not necessarily.
as a husband, a man and as somebody who takes responsibility. As conservatives, we've got to call men back to responsibility. We've got to say that spending your time not working, and we have more and more men who are not working, spending your time on video games, spending your time watching porn online while doing nothing is not good for you, your family, or this country. So.
I mean, I think it's the fundamental disconnect here with the capitalist system and how it makes work a virtue rather than what it actually is, and like at least work for money, right? Because I think what Josh Hawley here is saying is not what I consider work, right? Josh Hawley is saying, please go back to work because we like capitalism and this is how capitalism go burr. People need to work. He doesn't want social safety nets or anything like that. What I think is work, I think, how about this? You going to work and working your 9 to 5 at Walmart or the factory or your business or, fucking you're an actor. I don't care. That's way different than the unpaid work you do for your own life, for your own fulfillment. Whether that's work to make a garden in your backyard, to fix something in your house, to build something. These are still forms of work, and people who are at home doing nothing are sometimes working on other aspects. Sometimes they're not, though. And that's the thing. The fetishization of work by capitalists, and frankly, some far-left communists, fetishizing work as some sort of virtue is disgusting. And it doesn't mean that I encourage, like, never fucking doing anything. Like, I do stuff all the time for my own fulfillment when I'm not doing this, right? Which, this I like, though. Like, I'm very lucky in that I get to like my job, too. But, like, I don't always want to do trash, and so I don't. But, if I wanted to work more, if I really held myself to a very rigid schedule of streaming every single day, which I could do, and I'd make a lot more money, I wouldn't enjoy it. So, and I don't need to make a lot of money. I know some people don't look at it like that, but it's just not my relationship with capitalism. And so, like, judging your manliness based on how much money you make, which is what Josh Hawley did, is the fundamental difference here, right? Because I don't think you need to make money to be masculine. I think you... Like, say, for instance, Lauren Chen, you make probably a lot of money, enough for a household. Your husband, which I know works as well, could be a stay-at-home father for whenever you guys actually make babies, right? That sounded shitty for some reason. When you ever actually get around to it, virgins. But you know what I mean. Like, just whenever, if you guys end up conceiving, which I'm pretty sure you guys want to. If you ever do, like... He could be a stay-at-home dad and do more work than he did. It would just be unpaid. So the relationship you have with work and how much capital you get from it is the problem. Whereas I, as a leftist, value all work the same, right? And I don't think your dignity or your masculinity should be judged by any of those things. Because I think we all know at least one person, whether they're masculine or not, that just, like, doesn't work. But they're not necessarily a lazy person, right? Now, sometimes that's true, but I don't really think there's anything wrong with being lazy, as long as, like, you're taking care of yourself to some extent and you're not, like, being negligent where you ought not be. But, like, there's a difference between, like, not working and being lazy, in my opinion. So, anyway, that's the problem, Lauren, if you wanted an actual answer. I don't think these are objectively true things about anybody. Now, the being a father thing, you don't need to be a father to be a man, nor do you need to be a husband. I don't know.
Viewers watching this, and they're thinking, really? What the liberals are doing are going to push me to watch Pornhub more or play Donkey Kong more? Do you mean that literally?
Well, what I mean literally is that I think the liberal attack, the left-wing attack on manhood says to men, you're part of the problem. It says...
You are part of the problem. For the record, you're part of the problem. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. In fact, what's wrong with that is not acknowledging that you're part of the problem. Yes, men are part of the problem. They're not the only facet to the problem, but statistically, they're at least half the problem, right? At least. Of the problems we have. And by the way, masculinity doesn't mean just white men. Like, it crosses all thresholds. There's problems with every demographic of man in every scenario. Like, because there's problems with everybody. That's the whole point. Like, white men just have more problems. Like that's enough demographic information for you to know, okay, they probably have these problems. You know, some of those problems would be like really don't understand the perspectives of people who aren't them. That's like the chief among them, and thusly don't have as much empathy or any empathy for those people, which is like the whole problem. Now, and then there's the situation where masculine people, including white masculine people, don't treat each other correctly. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you still commodify man bodies to do, you know, dangerous and harmful like work and stuff, like exclusively. Like that's really weird. You know what I mean? Like you're a men's rights activist, you really love men, but selective service for all men that turn 18? Interesting. Fascinating.
Is that your masculinity is inherently problematic.
I think Holly's exactly right there. And if you're watching that clip and you're thinking, hang on, that seems like more of an attack on men than a way to praise masculinity, I do have an excerpt of a longer speech that he gave that I think better puts into context what he's trying to say. As one article explained, quote, the left want to define traditional masculinity as toxic. They want to define the traditional masculine virtues, things like courage and independence and assertiveness, as a danger to society.
A danger to society. No, I would say more accurately, I would say things like courage, independence, and assertiveness. Assertiveness is weird. Just being a dick. You can be assertive and it not have to be masculine. You can be courageous, and independent. These are not masculine things. But irrespective of that, let's say all those are masculinity. No one is saying that these are a danger to society. They are saying that, hey, the society in general is made worse if we practice these in shitty ways. That's really it. No one's saying that men are destroying society. Like, men are part of the problems that society has because they are part of society. And it's like women and black people and white people and Asian people and gay people and straight people and trans people and cis people. Like, every demographic has issues that they have to deal with. We talked about them a little bit earlier. Like, that's not weird, and nor is it an attack on your fragility. Like what the fuck? Why be so fucking defensive? I feel like the most masculine thing you can do in this situation is admit that you do have faults. Like what?
Holly said. America's men are withering as a result, Holly explained. The senator cited...
They're withering as a result because they're fucking fragile babies. Dude, if you a manly man that needs his masculinity, if someone can waver your masculine like comfort by saying that you have problems, you're not fucking very manly in my opinion, nor are you courageous, independent, or assertive like Josh Hawley just said. You're a little bitch that allows his emotions to be swayed by the briefest... You're Dennis Reynolds. Just a whiff of some sort of disapproval in your direction and you fucking crumble in on yourself like a dying star. You're a weak man. My affectations have turned into Dennis Reynolds. My rage burns with the intensity of 1,000 desert suns. Anyway.
A recent Wall Street Journal article that reported men are abandoning higher education in record numbers and lagging behind women. One expert said that if current trends continue, 2 women will earn a college degree for every man within the next few years.
You highlighted a problem about college that isn't a thing yet, but let's steel man it. Let's steel man it and say 2-to-1 women and men get a degree in college. What would this say about college? What would it say about it? That the system is bad? What about the system is bad? Financial restrictions, maybe? And due to those financial restrictions, you have to be more selective. Selectivity, meaning that women get better educations than men, at least, or at least comparable educations. And by the way, right now, I'm pretty sure it's college. Like, if I look up, like, what percentage of men... Wait. What percentage... Wait. How about this? Demographics of college students. Let's just see. I don't even know. Let's see. I'm gonna assume men are adult role. I don't know. Hold on. Assume men are around the halfway mark. Maybe a little less. Let's see. College enrollment by age. What we got? Sex or gender. Women are 24.7 more likely to enroll in higher education than men are. Okay, so Josh Hawley is saying that by, I don't know, 2030 or something, this won't be 24.7%. This will be 100%. Women are 100% more likely to enroll in higher education than men are. Here's the thing. Women are 4.5% more likely to attend private institutions than men are. Huh. But you know what part of this is? Do you want to know what part of this is? Part of that is the military option, and part of that is the just get a certificate crowd, because the system of college has become not a lucrative idea, and because you're in a capitalist system, the only ideas that make any sense are the ones that are lucrative. So a lot of people go to like 2-year college, or go get a certificate somewhere and learn like HVAC, or work in that way. So whereas STEM fields are often, they're pushing big time for like women in those spaces, which is a good thing. But like, there's a reason that you see a little bit of a thing out here, and this is based on toxic masculinity, by the way. Yeah, what would help that is if you just got rid of the financial barrier to education. That would pretty much overnight that, because a lot of people make those decisions based on money, and if you don't have to worry about that, you're less likely to make the money decision that will get you something quick. Now, that said, I still think it would lean towards women in general, because men are taught to choose certain paths. Like you don't need that to get it pays $18 an hour starting at the factory. You know what I mean? You don't need that, and like that's usually sent towards men because they use it for like hard manual labor. So.
Can we be surprised that after years of being told they're the problem, that their manhood is the problem? More and more men are withdrawing into the enclave of idleness and pornography and video games, the senator remarked. Hawley called for conservatives to fight the attack on men and push for a revival of strong and healthy manhood in America. We need men to raise up sons and daughters after them, to pass on the great truths of our culture and history, to defend liberty, to share in the work of self-government, he said. We need the kind of men who make republics possible, and it's not too much to say that our ability to get that kind of men will determine the success of our long experiment in liberty. One of the reasons why I think Hawley's explanation of masculinity and manhood is so...
Dude, that's such a... She thinks this is a good thing, but that's all fear-mongering. That's just him being scared of losing elections. Like, straight up, that's just him being a little baby.
Important is because it paints leadership and stewardship not just as telling people what to do or dominance, but actually as more of a stewardship role. Because I think when the left hears and talks about things like hierarchies and leadership, they assume there must be some sort of bullying, coercion, or exploitation involved. That if you are at the top of the pyramid, it's because you're kind of forcing everyone else to follow you, and you're like a dictator who's lording your power over them. But that's actually a very different interpretation than at least the biblical and I would say historical traditional message of what masculinity is about. If you are a leader, then you actually have more responsibility to the people who follow you. You're not simply there to bully other people and have them do whatever you want for them. You actually are in service to the people who are following you, which is a totally different mentality. And if you ask me, that type of attitude is exactly what makes masculinity such an attractive quality in a mate. And I say that as a woman.
In a mate. Who wants to mate, chat? I'm gonna mount you like a fucking bull.
When women, especially more traditional or Christian women, talk about wanting like a strong male figure to be their husband or to be the father for their children, they're not saying that they just want someone to boss everyone
like a bull
else around and to dominate them. They're saying they want someone to show genuine leadership and responsibility, to actually care for his family and take the role of protecting them and leading them, nurturing them,
dominating them sexually, yes.
Doing all of those positive things. And actually, I would say that one of the biggest benefits...
Gonna have to buy a new one, Chaotic Vega. Costs $5.99 to get on this corn bus.
Beneficiaries of positive masculinity...
Or e-begging, or that.
is women. But if you ask the people at Salon, actually what Josh Hawley is talking about is just straight up sexism and like him
Electro Retro. Thanks for giving one to Chaotic Vega. There you go. See? E-beg worked.
wanting to return to the 50s. As this article explains, sorry Josh Hawley, the left doesn't hate masculinity, women just don't want to make you a sandwich. So to be clear, Josh...
I mean, some women want to make you a sandwich. I'm more likely to make you a sandwich in this house, though. King Manji, thanks, Phil.
Josh Hawley gave an entire speech about what he thinks men's responsibilities and duties are to society and the family, and in Salon's messed up feminist brain, that translated into, you have to do something for me, woman. Like, are you serious? He's talking about men stepping up to the plate, but feminists can't help but see that as a way to tell women to GTFO back to the kitchen.
Get out of my kitchen, you're not better than me.
But anyway, this author writes, as is usual with these reactionary defenses of masculinity, what Hawley is trying to say is left deliberately ambiguous. It's only ambiguous for people with a 4th grade reading comprehension. I mean, which to
Ooh, big slam. Dropping bars out here. Big roast.
be fair is probably the majority of people on the internet, but still. They
Wow, she's super funny, dude. What a funny lady.
continue, as Paul Waldman of the Washington Post
Damn,
recently
dude.
pointed out, for instance,
Okay, hot take. Just because we're here and it's just the boys now, okay? Because we're talking about masculinity. She's not funny because she's a woman. I'm just kidding.
assertiveness can mean all sorts of things, as Harvey Weinstein was certainly an assertive man, but so is Senator Bernie Sanders. Okay, first of all, Bernie Sanders is not an assertive man, okay? I think we saw that when he absolutely rolled over after being screwed over by the DNC to still endorse Hillary Clinton. But again, here we see the left conflating values like assertiveness with coercion, but they are intrinsically different. When you threaten
Complains that women are doing more college, says they can't read. True.
to blackmail someone for sexual favors lest they be blacklisted from Hollywood, that's not just being assertive, that is being straight up abusive.
Yes, we agree.
And to try and act as if perhaps Senator Hawley was condoning that type of behavior is disgusting and just a perfect example of what bad faith looks like. The article goes on to explain it's also worth noting that these masculine qualities are hardly exclusive to men. It's doubtful that even Hawley is a troll enough to deny that women should also want to be courageous, independent, and assertive. Indeed, it's hard to think up a supposedly masculine virtue that isn't also a quality non-men aspire to. Strong,
Oh, she's going to be so mad about the non-man thing.
honorable, competent, all also virtues in women and non-binary
She's going to say something like, well, I'm just not even going to talk about the non-man thing.
folks.
Something stupid
No,
like that, right?
Hawley is being vague because what is being defended here is not virtuous behavior at all, but sexism and male dominance. This is a perfect example of what I was saying at the beginning of the video. So often in public discourse nowadays, what
she gonna
someone
ignore it?
said
That'd be amazing.
versus what their critics respond to are totally different.
Usually get triggered
Hawley
about that.
saying that men should have all of these great traditionally masculine qualities does not mean that women cannot or should not have them. And
Are they okay? So I guess it begs the question is begged that if a woman is courageous, is that her having a masculine trait? Because that's what the point is, right? The point is like, well, clearly courage and shit isn't a masculine trait. It's a trait that masculine people sometimes also have, and we associate it with masculinity. But is that a masculine thing? But we only associate it with masculinity because we force men to go to war. If we forced, do you think if we culturally made women go to war instead of men, that we would apply that to men or women for courage? Right. So it's not inherent to masculinity, it's inherent to the society and how it places that on masculinity. Does that make sense? That's all it is.
to even mention that is ridiculous. Really, Salon? You're saying women can be courageous too? Groundbreaking. Yes, women can be everything that men can be, but the difference is that in today's society, it is so common for women to be told to be bold and strong and assertive, etc., etc. I mean, there are entire books and series and programs and nonprofits dedicated to ensuring that women know that they can exactly be those things. But that type of stuff is not said for men at all, and that is a problem because those types of attributes are what I think most men would naturally gravitate toward. I don't think it's sexist or shocking to acknowledge
weird.
that on average, men and women display different personality types. Jordan Peterson talks a lot.
You know, I'm sorry. I just don't know why women wear rouge on their cheeks. They're trying to be salacious so that I will stick my penile in them.
That's it. That's the whole thing. He can talk? Yeah, he can talk.
One time, I got very sick after I drank some apple juice too late in the day. And then I lied about how I couldn't sleep for a world record amount of time.
I'm losing the voice.
Sorry.
It's gone.
I'm Jordan Peterson actually sounds like a wizard. One time, I was a therapist and had a woman come to me and say that she thought that she had been sexually assaulted. And in my book, I wrote that while she was saying this to me, that I thought she deserved it because she was an alcoholic.
Yes, that's a real thing Jordan Peterson wrote in his book. That's not a joke. We're not joking anymore. He actually wrote about that in his book. That's true. I have it somewhere around here. Wait, is this it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a little dusty, but that's Jordan B. Peterson right there, isn't it? So, yeah, he's not a good guy. He's kind of a shitbag.
The ramble was just a gorilla.
Fuck Jordan Peterson. Thanks for following, Mikhail Gorbachev.
About this. Men are more likely to be dominant and assertive, and women, for better or worse, are more likely to be agreeable and to have higher levels of neuroses. By shaming men for exhibiting the traits that they naturally gravitate toward, you are doing damage to men's mental health, whether you want to acknowledge it or not.
I guess it depends on how you go about it, but if you see like a meathead boy that wants to just lift heavies and you're like, you're fucking stupid for lifting heavy metal and putting it back down again. Yeah, you're kind of a douchebag, I guess. You know. But, like, we're all a little bit douchebags to each other sometimes. There's like, a reasonable amount of douchebaggery we put up with. People who say, here's one that you guys do that's, I would consider it, at this point, relatively toxic. Anytime there's a large sporting event and all you fucking nerds that aren't part of it compensate for not being part of the social event by saying, stupid sports ball. Shut up. It's the Let's Go Brandon of weebs and dweebs. It really is. At this point, it's just cringe when it happens. Can you just stop it? I don't say, ooh, you watch your Widow anime? You watch your anime. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, what are you guys doing? Yeah, just let people like things, man. You like your fucking My Little Pony shit? Go for it. I don't care. Bronies had their time, and then we stopped because it was cringe to say it anymore. I don't really care. Furries, same shit. I don't know. Wear your fursuit. Don't wear a fursuit. Have a fucking Sona like OC. Pretend it's a dragon. Get a big dick on it. I don't care. I really don't. You get to like that, okay? And when you go to your fucking BronyCon or whatever it is, when you go to Comic-Con, which is an objectively cool thing to do, like, I'm not gonna make fun of you. Go enjoy the thing. I'm really glad that you're geeked about something, okay? All right? But when Jared Goff throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and finally throws the ball upfield in the Lions game and they finally win a game after screaming at our televisions all season for him to actually do the thing that will win the game, and then he does the thing and we win the game, well, God damn it, let us enjoy it. Go Lions.
left. And speaking of the idea that, yeah, women can be masculine too, one of the few times that the left actually praises masculinity, it seems, is when it's not being exhibited by men. And if you think I'm exaggerating or being hyperbolic, I'm not. There's a literal Guardian article dedicated entirely to this. It's titled "What Toxic Men Can Learn from Masculine Women." The author explains that toxic masculinity is now a buzzword and a term most of us will
Baroque counterpoint? No, my eyes wouldn't glaze over. I'm assuming that's music theory, right? That sounds like that. I just wouldn't get it.
recognize. It describes a set of predatory, bullish, and bullying, sexually aggressive, sexist, and homophobic behaviors in some heterosexual men.
Yeah, I actually would be interested in that. People being interested in something and sharing the thing they are interested in is always interesting. To me. Like, I don't have to know about it if you can teach it. But if you're not an engaging speaker, then that's your problem. You know what I mean? That's the problem with it. Usually, because if someone can be engaging and tell you what like their passions, I don't care what that shit is. You know? Like, did you guys watch that Netflix documentary, The Dawn Wall, back in the day? I say back in the day, like 2 years ago, during COVID or whatever. That shit had me hooked. I don't give a fuck about free soloing mountains. I don't care. Or rock faces in Montana or wherever the fuck. I don't give a shit. But it was compelling because all these nerds that climb rocks, you know, it's all they do. They climb rocks and turn into fucking geckos. Their big old meaty paws. And they just climb up fucking mountains for no reason and almost die, and some of them do. Gripping because they were into it. You know what I mean? Telling you. People with passions, share them. Don't, like, overexert yourself and fucking force it at people. But, like, if you're having a conversation with somebody about stuff and your shit comes up, do that. You know what else you shouldn't do? Here's the opposite of that. If you're interested in something and then you, like, do that sort of attention-seeking behavior where you go, like, haha, and you just sort of, like, laugh in an open room, or you, like, sigh in an open room and just wait for somebody to respond to you so that you can engage with them like you wanted to in the first place. Just do the second part. Don't fucking chum the waters for social engagement. You're not a shark. Fucking just say the words you want to talk about. That's it. It's condescending. Okay? It's condescending. Some of you definitely do this. It's passive aggressive. Yeah, it's like weird. It's like weird shit. And you might not realize you're doing it. Here's a safe place to get called out. You're doing it. Okay? Don't fucking wait for somebody else to start the conversation. You start the conversation. You want to talk about the thing? Talk about the thing. People like talking about stuff. That's what we do. There's a reason we're probably in the same room together, and that's probably to talk about stuff. You know what I mean? Talk about it. Is this dating confidence advice? Yeah, it's both. It's all of it. It's just general fucking people. Just how to interact with humans. Like, good God. Some of you guys, I just feel like, you know what? Instead of a pickup artist, can I just be a socializing artist? Can I just sit in the rooms with people and be like, bro, what are you doing? Just really bluntly, like, this is a weird behavior. Don't feel bad about it, because I don't feel bad about it. But it is, you're doing a weird thing. What is this? What do you think's going on here? Like people who talk into this, like, really quietly. Why are you doing that? It's so much weirder than you just speaking up. I'm going to toss this out there. Anyone who doesn't speak with your chest, it's so much more noticeable. Like, it's really weird. And I realize you have social anxiety, and that sucks. But, like, the thing that causes the bad reaction that you're trying to avoid, you cause that. Does that make sense? It's like driving too slow on the highway. Eventually, you're the problem. You could slow down to a certain extent, and then you're 45 and a 75. You're a danger. You're the bad guy there. It's your problem. Okay? You gotta understand that if you just speak openly and loudly, like you would if you were comfortable. And I know that's a tough ask. I'm just saying, this is the solution. Realize that once you do that, nobody is like, oh, that's a socially awkward person that is standing out. It's the whispering shit or the, like, sort of down here. That really stands out. It makes it, and I don't know what it is. There's like a primal, like, what the fuck is this? What's this person's deal? You know what I mean? Like, there's a threat detection. Like, are they hiding a gun? Call them. We've too many school shootings for me to ignore that. Well, if you're an American, too many school shootings to ignore the quiet one. Yeah, I'm telling you, your social anxiety, that anxiety is wasted. You're a fine person. Just talk with your chest and you'll be fine. I'm serious. 99% of people's social ills is that. The other 1% are actually just weirdos. And that's okay, because sometimes you don't know you're a weirdo, and it might take somebody telling you you're a fucking weirdo. Statistically, there are 2 weirdos in this chat right now. What if it's just neurodivergence? Well, neurodivergence is it's just like a clinical version of being a weirdo, right? Everyone's got, it just depends on what neurodivergence is. But see, here's the thing. You can acknowledge that you have a neurodivergence and not just like, well, that's just how I am. You know what I mean? Yeah, nothing wrong with being a weirdo. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes neurodivergence won't do that. You know? Yeah, you speak at a fine volume, Andrew. Being weird, not equal. No. Just accept that you're a weirdo. It's fine. You're a weirdo. That's okay. No, statistically, there's more than 2 weirdos in this chat. This particular chat. But I, like a moth to the flame, I'm in a corn suit. What did I expect? But that's a fine thing, right? I'm done with this masculinity shit, but let's talk about being social, so I'm done with the video technically, but that's not necessarily the end of the video, if that makes sense. I'm done with her part of it. I think we need to understand that, like, sometimes you might just have a thing that other people socially find weird. It's okay to acknowledge that. There's nothing wrong with that. And if it is due to a neurodivergence, like autism is a great example of this. I have 2 pretty close autistic friends that it manifests very differently with the 2 of them. But, like, they both vibe on, like, they're both normal to hang out. Autistic people. It's not like it's not the same for everybody. And it's not like, no one can socialize with an autistic person. Autistic people, even people with like what a normie might call like an Asperger's-esque, like at a certain point, sure, it can be, that we're not weirdos anymore. We're just like, oh, we have like problems or something. But like even people with Asperger's can manage it in some ways. But like most autistic people, most people with like, your standard array of neurodivergence could be social anxiety, could be ADHD, which I have, could be a number of things. Doesn't matter. We don't have to put a label on it. You know what it is. Like, some of us are just a little weird to others, and that's okay. And we know what it is. Like, I'm weird to some people because I'm loud and I'm pretty confident when I talk, and not a lot of people are like that. I'm kind of weird in that way. And that's fine. I acknowledge that, and I understand in some situations, I got to pull it, like, not in my fucking house, not my own home, but, like, I pull back myself sometimes in social situations, especially with people that might not be used to being around me, because I understand I can be a lot. You know what I'm saying? That makes me a little bit of a weirdo. But it's understanding that, and having to go through, like, the social ickies of, like, people telling me these things. And understanding, like, hey, you sound like a severe dick sometimes. Definitely true. Didn't mean to. Like, I still do that all the time. It's not on purpose. I'm a weirdo in that way. Acknowledging these things. These are fine. Oh, you talk into your chest. That's a weirdo behavior. Don't be one. So just try to, understand that it makes other people go, are you okay? Like, you good? Like, or being the sire in the open room. Hate it. It's really condescending, but maybe you didn't realize you did it until now. Right? These are good things. Jake, do you get anxiety when streaming is not corn? No. I don't get anxiety about any of that stuff. Confidence leads to chill. Yeah, really what it is, if you can't vibe with me in my living room and just be really comfortable, I don't know, man. Like, there's something there we got to talk about. And maybe it's just like an anxiety thing. There could be all sorts of reasons for that. Like, maybe you're just not comfortable in your own body. Maybe you're just not comfortable with this certain combination of people. Maybe there's, like, other stuff going on. Maybe there's any number of reasons, but there's reasons, and you are being a weirdo. Right? You're not being a weirdo because there's reasons that you're being a weirdo. Does that make sense? We can justify these things without ignoring them. Yeah. Some people are born or better learned social confidence. Absolutely. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, just acknowledge that. Maybe Jake's sofa's made of razor blades. No. I'm getting a new sofa soon. Should be nice. But yeah. I think just really genuinely acknowledging it and being like, where am I a weirdo? That's super helpful, dude. Because we're all weirdos some way, right? Because we can't all be in each other's heads. So, like, I got to understand at times that people aren't going to be, like a symptom of ADHD that I often have is I get bored when I already know what someone's going to say. And they just drone on about it. It feels like droning on. It might take a minute. You know, it's no fucking problem for me. But that really goes away when I get high. Like, it really does, genuinely, if I get high. So if I feel myself being a grouchy asshole for no reason, I get high. You know what I mean? Now, I don't only get high because I feel like I'm going to be a grouchy asshole. Sometimes I just get high because I want to, because I'm an adult. But definitely sometimes I'm like, damn, you're doing that thing. Like, that's not someone else's problem. You know what I mean? That's nothing that they have to fix. That's me to fix. I'm being the weirdo. So I gotta address that. And one of the ways that I can do that is to smoke or something. Yeah. You're likely your own worst critic too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No one's like the insecurities that I have, most people don't give a shit about. You know what I mean? And I know that because I don't give a shit about that in them. You know what I mean? Why would I give a shit about that in somebody else? I don't have time for that. Like, whatever the insecurity might be. Yeah. Honestly, and I know this is easier said than done for a lot of people. I don't experience this, so I don't know. But, like, just be whoever you are. Please. Nobody hates anything more than a fake person. Like, seriously. Any of my annoyances with my friends, any of them that I've ever had, it's always been something that they're just fucking lying about. To themselves or to everybody else or to both. You know what I mean? Like, super annoying stuff. John Doyle should be himself. Oh, yeah, he's putting on a huge front, dude. Are you kidding me? John Doyle says what he thinks other people want him to say. He definitely believes a lot of it. He might believe all of it, but the way he says it, it's all a front, dude. There's not a secure man behind that. Fakeness can be good at first. It can't be good at first. It can't. It might feel safe at first, but it's not good.